Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly support the channel by taking a second or two and you click that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you whenever we do a video like this. Help us share videos and give this particular video a like so that it can be recommended to many viewers. To all our supporters, our subscribers, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a communication coming from the United Kingdom. There are three bodies that have communicated, and the communication are not very palatable to William Samoei Ruto. Apparently, William Samoei Ruto has been threatening everybody, and the intimidations against the judiciary has attracted a lot of condemnation. We know that the opposition did it, the Law Society of Kenya did it, even though William Ruto said that the Law Society of Kenya has got no authority to advise him. In fact, William Ruto has always maintained that when he applied for this job, he knew very well that he was and is equal to the task, even though we need to debate that further to see or to conclude whether he is really equal to the task. Then we had the East African Magistrates and Judges Association that came up and said this is wrong. We also have the Law Society of East Africa, or East African Law Society, that also condemned Ruto's approach. And you see, it cannot be that everyone is feeling that William Ruto is wrong, yet he's the only person who feels that he is right. And you see, if there is something that I've been waiting for, is any condemnation or warning from the people who gave Ruto power. By now, it is no rocket science that William Ruto was aided to State House by the USA and the UK. But I've realized that these two bodies, these two nations, are handling Ruto very differently. While UK has been very passive and sometimes would find it fit to correct William Ruto, USA has always been on Ruto's side even when he's gone to the extremes. Before I give the communication, I want to remind you that when William Ruto unleashed police brutality on Azimio supporters, Commonwealth, and that of course you know that the head of Commonwealth is King Charles, condemned Ruto's exercise, and they said that William Ruto must obey the constitution, because demonstrations, they noted, is something that is entrenched in our constitution as long as it is done within the law. US was very silent. In fact, while that was happening, Meg Whitman, who is our prefect, the lady I believe is the one who is controlling Kenya, while William Ruto is just a conduit of what US wants, went ahead and praised our election that was the basis of demonstrations. And she said that that was the freest election, the most credible in the history of Kenya. The UK High Commissioner, Neil Wigan, is very tactful when he is handling governance matters in Kenya, because he understands that it is very precarious and very emotive. So these two nations, even though they participated in ensuring that Ruto got his victory, there is a way that the two of them are dealing with William Ruto recently. So the communication that we have is that UK-based Commonwealth bodies condemn William Ruto's attacks on judiciary. 3 UK-based Commonwealth bodies have condemned attacks on Kenya's judiciary, including by President William Samoei Ruto, because of, you know that it is not only William Samoei Ruto, but all his dogs or the allies, people like Sholei, Kimani Chungwa, there have been a barrage of attacks to the judiciary, so they have condemned this. And it goes ahead to say that the bodies include the Magistrates and Judges Association, the Legal Education Association, and the Lawyers Association. And they said that a democratic state based on the rule of law cannot exist or function if the government and other state authorities ignore their constitutional obligations and fail to abide by court orders. That was the statement. And they went ahead to say that we urge the government of Kenya to respect the authority and independence of the judiciary and ensure that court decisions are respected and complied with, and that due process is followed in line with Kenya's constitution and its international obligations regarding any investigation of judicial officers for alleged corruption. They went ahead to say that. The final communication is this, that a court, and this is now quoting verbatim, a court is the guardian of justice and the cornerstone of a democratic system based on the rule of law. If the state, an organ of state or a state official does not abide by court orders, democracy will be gravely undermined. By virtue of its membership, Kenya is committed to the shared fundamental values and principles of the Commonwealth, at the core of which are the belief in and adherence to democratic principles, including respect for the authority of an independent and impartial judiciary. Well, I don't know whether they are just doing this to save their face or they're doing it because they are serious. Of course, you know, we are a colony of the Commonwealth or the UK, and so sometimes they hold dearly what we do as a government, because, you know, Ruto's character can plunge the country into a big mess. And they know that when the country is in a political, social, and economic quagmire, then their businesses and their interests are sometimes jeopardized. They need peace. That is why when Raila was leading demonstrations on the streets, they had to come for several meetings telling him that we need peace. And Raila, of course, understood them. Statesmanship, something that I've talked about very many times. At the core of the discussion is the independence, the autonomy of these institutions. Because William Ruto has declared that he will not respect the opinions or the orders of the court. And he continues to do that. Even today in Nakuru, where he and Kihika were booed, he maintains and is perpetuating this lie that there are people who want to sabotage and deny people jobs and affordable housing and affordable medication. And you see, US and UK are two different bodies. Recently, when UK was choosing people who should go and oversight or observe elections in Bangladesh, many thought that because Chebukati has always presented himself as the man who stood firm against some pressure to deny Kenyans their right, we thought they would, you know, choose Wafula Chebukati or Boya Mulu or any of the commissioners. But they chose Pauline Njoroge. And you see, choosing Pauline Njoroge was very funny to me, because Pauline has been in Uhuru's camp, and William Ruto does not want anything to do with Ruto. So if they wanted to play cheap politics, like I know US would have done, if US was the one that was choosing, they would have chosen Chebukati, because Joe Biden is a president, one of the US presidents I've never, I don't know. They are so much hell-bent on sanitizing William Ruto, legitimizing him, protecting him, even when he goes overboard. But UK at least feels that there are certain limits that William Ruto must be confined to. They both helped William Ruto, but UK feels that when William Ruto behaves in a certain manner, then they are the people who are being humiliated. Because it's not like they don't know. I believe that the intelligence of the US and the UK are almost top-notch. And so they know very well that people are dissatisfied. They know very well that we know what happened. For example, they know that we are still questioning why Meg Whitman was in Bomas during the tallying process. We've never seen an ambassador, a diplomat, being at the tallying center. I've never seen that. They always wait for the declaration day. So they know if US had a chance, they would have chosen Wafula Chebukati. So the UK feels that no, something is definitely wrong. And I've juxtaposed the two. While the US ambassador was in Bomas, the UK High Commissioner was not there. While Meg Whitman is busy praising William Ruto, knowing very well that it's going to create animosity, the UK High Commissioner is a bit quiet. Joe Biden singles out William Ruto in a UN summit and says that William Ruto is committed to the peace around our borders, and they are now taking people to Haiti. US. They are now forcing people with GMO. US. So these people are too different. They are behaving, they are handling Ruto differently. But I believe that it is high time William Ruto should at least stop and find out. You know, in any society, when you realize that very many people are condemning what you are doing, it cannot be that you are the wisest. William Ruto cannot tell us that he is the wisest man that can stand above every advice from the East African community, from the UK and Commonwealth. It can never be. And I'm waiting for the day Meg Whitman just say something to save the face, because, you know, US behaves as if we are their colony. They will do whatever they want. I'm waiting for them to even try and condemn. What are they still waiting for? Or are they busy? And you know, when these two countries were trying to choreograph a plan to help William Ruto ascend to power, I'm sure, this is just my opinion, I'm sure they knew that after the declaration, Raila and Azimio would go to court. And so the court, the Supreme Court was also in their pocket, was in their radar, knew the plan. And I think if there is something that they don't understand is how William Ruto is now turning against the judiciary loudly and publicly, because by doing this, it is exposing them. Do you know, if push comes to shove, William Ruto will be exposed? What if the Supreme Court just decides, that the judges decide to say, we were forced at gunpoint, we were threatened, we were intimidated, and so there's nothing we could do by that time? William Ruto is setting a very bad precedent, ladies and gentlemen. But then, apart from the warning that the UK is giving, or these bodies are giving William Ruto, is there anything they can do? If you ask me, nothing at all. Because William Ruto knows that they condemned and they won, but he still goes ahead. In fact, wherever he goes, he keeps on saying that the judiciary is corrupt. The last thing that people are asking William Ruto, I know the 7 judges of the Supreme Court are enemies of the people, but the threats to the judiciary is not only confined to Koome. And I think if it was Koome alone, people would have left them to fight it out, because these are buddies who sat down to deny people their victory. But you see, the threats goes beyond that. There are some judges who are good, and that is why people are fighting, because if it is left, people will be going back to the dark days, and we don't want to neutralize the gains that people got by shedding their blood, and some were maimed. You know where we have come from. We have spoken so much about Ruto's threats to the judiciary and how other bodies have condemned, how the Law Society of Kenya went to the streets, and it is something that we don't want to repeat ourselves on. But the warning from the UK, warning from the Commonwealth, really adds a lot of weight and should be a U-turn. You know, William Ruto should observe this and realize that he is wrong. There's a way he can handle this. But if he continues this way, William Ruto is setting a bad precedent and will plunge into anarchy. We will not respect the law. If the president does not respect court verdicts, why should I? If the court summoned me, why should I go there? I mean, it is pathetic. I don't know what to think, but that is my take.